So good morning, everyone. So I hope audio has been clear. So there is a happy noon. Thank you, Dave. Happy noon. Good afternoon. Good morning, Pradeep. Are we getting any echo? In case if there is an echo, I might have to switch my. Yes, thank you, Angel, for confirming that. Is it better now? I mean, switch this headphone to the secondary device. Yes. Now echo still. I've been enabled noise cancellation as well. Okay. Now we haven't covered the migration. Okay, Sachin will plan a separate for that. High availability and hybrid scenarios. Hybrid scenarios will try to give you some insight today, and identity management also will try to give it today some insight on that. Because the reason it's like so we are spending 3 hours only in a day, and if you're taking all 801, there's almost a 5 weeks of 5 days of a program. So there is a uh, time limitations we have on that. So what about other topic like hybrid scenarios or a DR? Possible we can have another further discussion dedicated on this topic. We can have a session on a availability on a cluster. We can have a rather than focusing on a certification, we can have some dedicated service-based session on that. We can plan possibly a day off session or something. That's not an issue. Now, Sachin has been posted a couple of questions on this on the chat. Can NST include in multiple subnet? Let me, Sachin, take the second question first. This, I hope this audio has been clear and at least able to follow and no much echoes. Thank you, Pravas, for a nice comment. So we are trying to make it at least whatever topic has been covered, that's been crystal clear to everyone, rather than just finishing a PPT and say that, hey, goodbye and balance. You can learn your own that instead of that. We're trying to make this all event it's been more interactive and a case study scenario based and demo based one. Now, Sachin's second question, let me pick it. Sachin is asking a question. He's in a customer place. He's configured a VNet. Let me take my pen. Okay. Now Sachin is in a customer place. Let's take an example. It's like whiteboard is got crashed. Let me relaunch it. Customer Sachin is in a customer place. Their customer Sachin has been configured a VNet. Let me open a new whiteboard. Look like some error with the board. Okay. So I'm picking the second question which has been posted on the chat. Saranga is saying like a sound is not clear. Saranga has been better now. Okay, thank you. So Sachin, I'm picking your question now. So Sachin is in a customer place. There is a VNet is been created. Let's take a VNet name. It's HR VNet. And this has been configured in the east to east data center, and it's been configured with a range 10.0.0.0.16. Now, all of us already understood yesterday, the moment when you are configuring a VNet with a particular range, there is a IP pool is been by default has been assigned to us. Now, in such in case, is configured with a 10.0.0.16. IP range is almost is coming 65,536 IP address. So this is the pool of IP address is been assigned for distribution. I hope this point is been clear to you, right? All the team members here. So I hope this point is been clear to you. This how this 65,000 IP address is been coming to us. Basically, like the moment when you create a VNet based on your subnet, this IP address is been created. In case if you're not seeing this option, let me take you into whiteboard. Sorry, let me take you into the Azure portal. I'll show you where this option is been coming, because few people may be wondering from where this suddenly this 65,000 IP address is been came to the picture. So give me a second. I'm just taking you into a Microsoft Azure white portal. I'm just typing. Give me a second. I'm just waiting for the security code. I hope you can able to see portal now. I've been switched my desktop into portal. So you maybe notice that whenever you are creating a VNet on in a Microsoft Azure portal, the VNet similar name concept has been available in other vendor site also. If you are taking AWS or Google, this term or the terminology is known as a VPC. Okay, so uh, Mayo, this is not able to follow, or it's like, do I need to reconnect it back? If this echo is been disturbing too much, I may have to reconnect it back. So right now, so team, if you can just help me to comment it on the chat. Are we able to follow? Because in the break time, I'll try to change the reboot the server. Okay, I got a one comment. Himali saying like no issues, we can able to follow. Okay, rest of the members at least if you can comment, noticeable. Okay, Sachin will try to reconnect it. Yeah, because the same headset what we were used yesterday, no much reconfiguration we have done. Seems like the same ID maybe have been used because of this echo is coming. During the break time, I'll try to switch it. Okay, now let's come back to the session. We were trying to answer a question like we are in a customer place. Customer is having a multiple VNet is been configured and multiple subnet also has been configured. And Sachin wants to do some kind of a filtering. So what is the option is been available in front of us? Because yesterday I was saying like when we are configuring NSG, this needs to be mapped against to the VNet. Now, if you go to the Azure portal, the moment when you are trying to create a VNet, in the VNet properties, for example, like I've just given a like a resource group, for example, like I given it's a finance, given it's been like a test network. The place where you are trying to create a IP address, you may be able to see here 10.2.0.0.0. I've been used a subnet code /16 here, right? If I'm zooming here, you may be able to see here. This is assigning a 64,536 IP address to this virtual network. In case if you want to do a further slicing of this, there's something like all our hometown, we have a shopping malls, right? All weekends, tomorrow is been weekend and we always been going there for purchasing items, right? If you're going to any shopping mall, generally you may be able to see that shopping mall may be having X name. The name may be like X, But once you enter inside a shopping mall, you may be able to see different branded showrooms, right? You may be having a Adidas, you may be having a Puma, you may be having Arrow, Van Heusen, or you having different toy shop, different. Please manage a echo. Okay, so give me a second. Let me reconnect it. If you're not able to manage this one, just give me a second. Surag, I'm just rebooting this system and connecting with a different ID. Just give me a second. Okay. Team, sorry for this inconvenience because look like the same email I've been used. Maybe because of that, it's been loop is coming on the Teams. Let me reconnect it. So give me 2 to 3 minutes time at least for rebooting this VM. Surag, if you're there, so I'm just rebooting my laptop. I'll be back in another 2 minutes.
Hi guys, Robin should be joining shortly, and yeah, and about that making to the out of office thing, I will create a post or a message in Discord, and we can have a discussion in the Discord itself, and let's see how many people are there to be doing the session, and how many people what is their time and all. So maybe after this event in the evening time, uh, I will uh, I will create that message, and then we can have a talk in that channel. So yeah, I hope you all are in the Discord channel to discuss about this. Rather than like I think rather than going for a forms to be filling, I think it's more better to have a discussion around it in the Discord itself, so we can know how many people are there. So yeah, I hope you guys agree, and you guys are okay with it. Mm. probably will take at least nearly to 10 minutes for Robbins to come up. Yeah. Mm, and we're sorry for this. The echo was a little bit kind of a disturbing constant rate. Let's hope it's going to be fixed once it's rebooted. Yeah. Mm. Also, just also if any of you are from Indonesia and we have an event on 29th, which was rescheduled, but yeah, if you are from Indonesia, there is an event for Indonesia in Indonesia language itself. So any of you are Indonesia from Indonesia, then you can join that event. Please, I have shared the link in the chat box, and you can just check it out. If you find it relevant, you can join there. And we have a event tomorrow at 9:30 IST. And yeah, if yeah, let me share that as well. In the meantime, I can it's back.
I hope it's been better now.
Yes,
Is there any echo?
no,
Okay,
I do not face anything, but yeah,
okay.
let's share.
So let's wait. I'm not seeing chat options. Let me connect my secondary monitor also if it's good. Give me a second,
Yeah.
okay? Just So the second Teams is connecting. Just give me a second. Teams is in loading stage only. It's getting a message like initializing, and yeah, I've been connected to the second ID also. So Surag, if you can promote me as a panelist or a host, I can share a screen now. Second ID also. Can everyone confirm the audio? Uh, we have been used a different system, headset, and different hardware. Is it better now? Is there any echo or any kind of a sound issues you're facing? And we've been using a different email ID also for connecting. Yeah.
Actually, I can hear an echo. Um,
So the
but I'm not sure if they are having it as well.
I think
Uh,
agent also saying so. Again, echo. So I tried all my the possibility. Like I used a different headset. I have three laptop here connected to the third or the last option. Different IDs been used. No, not sure that's the way this echo is coming. This is something like I'm standing in a road and open forum and talking, right? Is it able to manage at least? It's possible in the break
yeah,
time.
I
Let me
think
again.
I think now it's not there. Yeah,
In
I
other
think
laptop
it's
also, Sandesh, it's been uh, mic is not enabled there. I'm using only on this system. Such an I've been trying. So there is an option like if you're seeing here, only the mic or the headset which I connected, only that computer, this mic is enabled. Look like somewhere this loop is coming. We'll try to sort it out during the break time. Let's yeah, I've been one is been connected using a web Serenga. It's been right now. Right now I've been connected using previously I was using a web and got issue. Now I've been switched into the app mode. App also seems doing so. Now let's try with this one at least next a couple of minutes before because another after 30-35 minutes we have a break time. Break time I'll try to rejoin. Okay, rather than just not wasting your time. Let's start the session. Yeah. Now we were discussing about a term called assigning a VNet into multiple subnet. So we have a customer place. We got a scenario. It's like the customer want to have a NSG role to be assigned to different subnet because they're having a different department is coming and the departments are isolated using a subnet option. So right now we understood you have a 65,000 plus IP address you are getting. 65,536 IP address is getting. Now we have a two method we can follow in a typical BAU operations or a implementation. The first method it's been like right now we got a 65,000 IP address you got. Now when we are implementing a VM, we understood we are mapping your VM to a region. We understood this has been mapping to a resource group. And we understood this resource group is been connected to a VNet also. So any VM is been joining on any resource group along with your operating system is getting an IP address also from this pool. I hope this concept is been clear to you, right? For example, like VM1 is joined in the resource group called HR department. This got an IP address from this address pool. Now I have another VM called VM2 is been joining into a resource group. This is getting an IP address from whatever VNet it's been assigned to that particular VM. I hope this method of assigning it's been clear to you now, right? Now the problem right now here how it's like you have a VNet configured with a 65,000. Now you take a scenario like or in your organization, all your VMs are placed in the same VNet. Or you have a Active Directory, your HR database, your DHCP server, your Exchange server, and all your users or your guest users all are connected onto the same VNet. What are the concerns we have? Because you're indirectly you are doing a security compromise, right? Because your Active Directory, everyone can able to connect it. If someone is entered into your Office network, they are getting a full privilege to access all the system available in the Office. So the other reason for avoiding this kind of a situation, in your Office you may be using a concept called isolation. What do you mean isolation? You will be creating a separate pool, and inside that, based on the category, either from a production or a development or a staging, or it's like a DMC, or it's been like, or it's an application server or a development server. Based on that, you will be placing relevant infrastructure. How generally it's been doing this, doing with the help of a concept called subnetting. So whatever IP address you'll be doing a subnetting, like all the production server will be placed in one subnet. This will be placed in another subnet. So this is the scenario generally for following almost all organization. Now, Sachin is asking, he is in a such kind of a scenario here, like he is having a, you are in, is in a customer place where he's got where you got a multiple VMs. There is a multiple VNet is been configured and the subnet also it's been configured. Now he want to configure any some kind of a solution saying that there is all IP address needs to be all IP address needs to be mapped to one subnet. So this is a situation we have. So Sachin is in a place where is the VNet is being configured with HR, configured with a 10.0.0.16, and is configured multiple subnet. For example, like one is configured with a 10.0.0./24. Subnet, I'm just giving the subnet name is given general subnet. And we have two VM has been associated here. This is a VM1. I have another VM2 has been associated here. Now Sachin is asking a question here. Yesterday, when we are discussing about a concept called NSG, I was saying like this has been assigned in a subnet level, and this has been assigned in a VNIC level, right? So this point has been clear to you, right? Now Sachin is asking a question: is it possible, or is do we need to assign a subnet? Do we need to assign a NST here, or do we need to assign it in a here? Sachin, your question is like this, right? If you can comment it on the chat, Sachin, if you are there, so because when I rebooted this server, the chat history is got cleared, so I'm not able to see the historic history of your chat. Sachin, if you can just help me to post the question again on the chat, just for a verification. The chat history is got cleared. Yes. So question number 2, it's been like a can NST rule include multiple subnet? Now, when you're configuring NST, you define a rule and it's been assigning a subnet or a VNet. So now you define a rule called X rule. In say that you've been defined a lot of security rules based on a priority 100 to 401. So the same NSG rule, Sachin, you can assign to this subnet. You can assign this security rule directly to this subnet. Now you have another set of subnet also has been created. For example, like a subnet B. You can assign to here also. You can associate into multiple subnet. There is no issue. In case if you have a multiple subnets available in organization and the same set of rules, if you want to replicate, you can able to do. But the point you need to remember, you will not have any provision to assign this NST rule directly to the VNet level. That option is not available. You have only option to assign either the NST level So, and you have only option for the NST to assign in a subnet level or a VNet level. Now, question number 3, is there any separate network can be used? Yes, we can able to use it. Possibly in the storage session, I'll be able to cover that. Can we create a auto scaling for a VM and its resource? Yes, you can able to configure that. That option generally knowing as is called virtual machine scale set. The option generally we are using on in a Microsoft Azure that's called scale set. There's a virtual machine scale set has been using. So with the help of that, you will be able to configure that. Any other question from anyone members? Okay, now let's move to the next portion of the session. So right now we have been discussing about how to prove a security to a VM. So right now we have seen we have implemented a VM here. Now security has been enabled in a subnet level. Security has been enabled in a VNIC level also. You have been enabled a NSG in a subnet level and a VNIC level. So both the place you have been enabled this one. Now next one it's been like how the security has been provided into your organization, because yesterday I was discussing about a term called defense in depth in a cyber security or in a cloud security. Different layered approach we are following for providing a security, because you have 100 plus of services been hosting. So all the layers we need to provide a securities, right? So it's not that only in the subnet level and VNet or in VNIC level have been enabled some security rule, and we cannot say that to the customer, saying that your entire cloud infrastructure has been secure and nothing to worry. No, because hackers or a cyber experts are using a different method to attack your informations, or it's different method to attack your servers or a infrastructure. So generally we need to enable access or a permission in a different layers. It can be from a VM level, or next one I am going to discuss about a concept called identity management, even a role-based access control. So all these level we need to enable this securities. Now VNet or in a VNet, inside a VNet, in a VNet level and the subnet level, we have been provided the security. Now this is all it's about the internal network. This all security has been right now it's been enabled inside a internal network. You have a internal network is available. Now, generally for any packet or any communication is becoming, basically we'll be using a concept called firewall on a perimeter network. There is a concept called firewall. So firewall has been available. So all your VNet outside your network is been, for example, like you have a multiple VNet has been available in your organization. One second. Now, the concept generally we are using in a perimeter network that's called a firewall, because whatever configuration we have done in the past, like a NSC, which has been configured inside a subnet level, and it's been configured in a VNIC level. Now, next concept generally we are using in an organization is called firewall. You may be already aware or you may be learned about a concept about firewall in the past, right? Uh, Basically, this is in a kind of a intelligent mechanism, like when you in an organization, if you want to configure any kind of a firewall, uh, you may be using a hardware firewall or you may be using a software firewall in an organization, right? Now, if you take a organization, for example, like you have a multiple uh, branches is being scattered in your organizations, you need to provide some kind of a solution ensuring that whatever traffic is been coming from a network, either it's an on-premises network or a Azure network, is been completely uh, controlled, so they can able to avoid any kind of a malicious actors or infiltrating into a network. This needs can be able to control, because you may be seen in your existing corporate data center. For example, like if you are taking a data center, you may be having a multiple servers, you may be having a multiple services available in organization, and you may be having a number of workstation also it's been available, all is been interconnected, and uh, inside this may be your data center. Now this data center may be connecting to outside using a either through a hardware firewall, or you may be having a software based firewall. Can you comment it on a chat? Will you want a firewall in your office? Can you comment it on in a chat window? Now, this is the scenario you may be seeing on in an existing data center. This is your data center or a data room, and outside you may be having a software based or a hardware based firewall is been available or it's been configured. Can you comment it on a chat window? Will you want to configure a firewall in your organization? Yes, Nawaz is saying like he's hardware based. It's been Fortinet or a FortiGate or a Palo Alto or a Sophos. This kind of different vendors are available in the market. With the help of them, we'll be able to do this one. Because in today's world, yes, edge of the core network we are using. In the edge of the FortiGate or different vendors are available in the market. So basically, if you're seeing in today's world, there is a lot of or a sort of attack generally we can expect in your organization, right? This has been basically like a DOS attack or a DDoS, this kind of a chatbot based attack we can able to use. You can able to see in the market. I'm not talking about Azure. I'm talking about in a general scenario. In a normal scenario, we used to configure a firewall. What generally firewall will do? Firewall will read the packet based on the rules how you're being configured in the perimeter network. So whatever rule is been configured, and some products or some vendor products is having some kind of intelligent mechanism also. So with the help of the rule or with the help of the how the firewall is been configured, that will evaluate the packet is been incoming. So if there is a proper request is coming, your firewall will either it will take it two actions. Either this will allow or it will deny. Normally, companies will be allowing a firewall appliances, like there is a called appliances generally using, or sometimes maybe using a physical firewall also. So this company responsible is for now in a corporate data center. If you are taking, the company has been responsible for this hardware or a software, whether if you are using appliance or whether you are using a software or whether you are using hardware. The company has been responsible for this one. So this is the way generally the firewall has been configured. Now, the same mode you can able to see on in a virtual or in a VMware or hypervisor scenario also. You used to configure a firewall in the VMware or Hyper-V also. Now, when it is coming on in a Azure side, the concept is going to be the same. You may be having a multiple VNet will be available. For example, like you have created a VNet. All this VNet will be connected to a service called Microsoft Firewall. In case if you have a multiple VNet is been available, all this VM is been connected to different VMs as well. You have multiple VMs. Now, if any packet want to go outside, this will go through the Azure firewall. There are many features you can able to see. One feature is been like if you're taking a firewall here, this firewall is been typically managed by the Microsoft itself. You don't have any kind of a control on the hardware or a software part. But if you're taking your existing legacy or a on-premises one, uh, it can be appliance or it can be hardware also. That was managing by us. Now, when it is coming on Azure side, you don't manage the hardware of the software. So we are deploying a firewall in the virtual network, and management on the backend side is being completely handled by the client itself. So there are many features you can able to see. Basically, like it's been a completely managed cloud-based security service. So what is the advantage you are getting in case if you are implementing Azure firewall here? This has been giving a complete protection to a VNet. So based on the rule we are configuring here, this will allow or deny the packet which has been entering to a cloud infrastructure. So it's been basically like if you're taking any firewall, you can able to heard about a two concept like called you may be like if you're taking any firewall product, you may be heard about a concept called stateful firewall, and um, there is a option called stateful firewall or a stateless firewall. So this is a self study you can do. There is a self-study topic I'm just pasting on a chat. Just do a comparison between stateful firewall. I'm just typing on the chat. Stateful firewall versus stateless. This is a general topic. Just try to understand what is the difference between stateful firewall and a stateless firewall, and try to find out what are the different product is been available for stateful and stateless firewall, and try to understand how this packet filtering has been happening on in a stateful or a stateless firewall. So this firewall, if you're taking general terms, if you are taking any firewall, basically this will have two types is been available. One is called a stateful firewall, and second one it's been like a stateless firewall. Just try to understand what is the difference of this behavior, how this has been different. Is there any difference you have available for this packet of filtering, and how this has been configured? So these two options you can able to see and try to understand what are the pros and the cons is been available for stateful and stateless firewall also. Which firewall is been you need to implement in each organization. So you can have some self studies around this stateful or a stateless firewall. I'm talking about in a general perspective, not in the Azure side. Now, when it is coming on in a Azure side, basically if you're taking Azure, it's a basically a stateful firewall, and there is a by default there is a inbuilt availability or a unrestricted cloud scalability is being provided on in the cloud side. Now, basically it's been configured in a VNet level. Now people may be getting a question, what is the difference between this network security group and the Azure firewall? So you may be having some kind of a confusion is coming around here. So the first point is like your NSGs does not replace your firewall. Both are different service, both are not same service. One has been configured in the VNet level, and other one has been configured in a subnet level and the VNet level. So that is the first point. So people are always having some kind of a confusion. I already having an NSG. Where do I need to go for a firewall? So as a cloud security expert, you need to understand Azure firewall and Azure NSG both are a different product. So it's not the same product. It's both are in a different product. So the key point you need to remember: Azure NSG does not replace Azure firewall. That's the first point you need to remember. Now Azure firewall is a paid service, and where if you are taking NSG, it's a free product. So when you're going for a firewall product, it's like it's a free product. NSG is a free product. Now let me take you into a Azure portal. Give me a second. Let me take into a Right now I've been connected to Microsoft Azure portal. Right now we are able to see the Azure portal on the screen. I hope you can able to see it. One second, I'm just opening. Yes. Now, if you're seeing Azure portal now, we have used a network security group here previously for configuring any kind of a filtering on your organization, right? In filtering on for the traffic in your organization. Now, in case if you're configuring a firewall, so you need to go to the same method. You need to go to firewall option. There you can able to implement here. So right now you have a two, when you're searching a firewall, you may be able to see two options here. One is called firewall and a firewall manager also. Firewall manager generally using like in your organization, if you are configured a multiple firewall rather than just going individual firewalls, you can have a centralized management of your firewalls. For example, like a multiple firewall you have configured in your organization and it's been tagged or it's been attached to multiple VNet. Now, instead of going on individual firewall and doing a management, the centralized management is been possible with the help of a service called Firewall Manager. So this will give you a complete dashboard. What is the current stats of your organization firewall? Is there any kind of issues you are facing, or if you need any kind of a support is needed, or if you want to configure any policies? Basically, as I said, the firewalls are working based on uh, rules, right? So that's called policies generally it's using. There is a concept is coming DDoS. You may be seeing on the left side. Possible like after break, I'll have some insight. I'll be sharing you on the DDoS. Why we need a DDoS also. Now I'm coming on the firewall part now. Right now you may be seeing like there is a firewall option is being coming. So basically this has been configured in the perimeter network. So like where your network is been entering, where you'll be configuring a firewall. Now the point you need to remember when you are using a VNet or it's when you are using a NSG, you have been seeing like NSG is it's a free product. You don't need to pay any additional amount for this one. But when you're coming on board in a firewall side, Azure firewall side, it's been like it's been you give me a second. Okay, right now you may be seeing like this firewall pricing part, right? So right now, if you are inside Azure firewall price, if you're going based on how this is been configuring, what is the type of the firewall you're configuring, there is a different pricing you will be able to see here. So you can able to see based on what is the type of the mode you are configuring. Is it a basic or a standard or a premium mode? There are different mode you will be able to configure. So based on the premium and based on the mode it's been configuring, based on the location it's been configuring, you will have a different option has been available. So you can able to. select it, like you have a standard or a premium or a different mode, you'll be able to configure it. So there's a point you need to remember. So coming on in the NSG part or in the firewall part, the first point you can remember, uh, Azure Firewall is not a free product. Always it's needed on in it. It's in a price tag is been enabled. Now, second point, it's been like if you're taking a NSG, uh, by default, NSG has been working based on how or your administrator is defining a rule. You may be seen yesterday, like when you want to configure any kind of a traffic management. As a system administrator, we were uh, giving a rule saying that, hey, this needs to be configured, this port needs to be blocked, or this IP address needs to be allowed, or this from this network to this network only the communication is being allowed. So technically, NST was working based on how filtering or how security rule we have been defined. But when it is coming on in a firewall set, this can be integrated or this having an intelligent mechanism also. Like basically, if you are taking any firewall, basically this is been providing kind of a threat intelligence. This can be able to connect to Microsoft threat management products and whatever latest updates or a attack or a commonly attacking website or attacking IP address. All this can be automatically this will identify. This will have some kind of a intelligent mechanism by default. It's been available. And because NSG is always is been working, right? If you're taking NSG, how this was working when you're going to inside a network security group, always it was working about the inbound or a outbound security route. uh, we are defining. It's not that by default it's not populated any route. There is a some default rule it's been available that only for inbound or the outbound one, only for few cases. But generally, if you're taking NSD, the entire NSD was working based on how administrator has been defining or how administrator has been configuring a NSD. Based on that, it's been working. If administrator is not defining any blacklisting of IP address or a commonly attacked website, uh, this won't be block it from the internal level, right? So generally, what if you're enabled a firewall, this will automatically identify the commonly attacking sites or a website or IP address. So with the help of that, you will be able to identify the common threat or the commonly used threats IP address or the website. Basically, Azure Firewall is having a all kind of availability option is having. You don't need to have any kind of additional load balancer to be created. By default, this will having auto scalability and auto high availability is being provided, and you don't need to go for any kind of additional load balancers. Now, when you're taking a NSG, when you're taking about a Azure firewall, this basically working in a layer 3 and a layer 4 or a layer 7 security layers. So you may be taking a OSI layer, you may having a different approach layer approach we have, right? It's basically it's been working in a layer 3 and layer 4. And when you're configuring Azure firewall, this you'll be able to configure network rules. Saying that network rules basically like you want to block some IP address, or you want to do some kind of a blacklist or whitelisting of IP address, or you want to configure some website address needs to be blocked. All this can be configured inside a Azure firewall, or you need to do some kind of a concept called natting. In a normal scenario, like we have considered in the first day, like you have a particular VM is being configured in your organization for a cost and security purpose. You are removing a public IP address from a VM from a VM. Now, how to connect this VM from outside? We have considered a gem server or a bastion service concept, but in a not in a most apt connection method, generally we are using a cloud infrastructure is been a concept called natting. Like the Azure firewall will have a one public IP address will be there. So with the help of the public IP address, the users from the outside can be able to connect internally. And once the packet is being received on an Azure firewall, the computer will be connected internally. That's called a natting. I'll be showing all that options. Nothing to worry. Right now, I'm just giving a general concept of summary about Azure firewall, how this basically it's been working. Now, this can be configured generally, like if you're considering Azure firewall has been not configured in a subnet level, or it's not configured in a VNet level. Always this virtual network has been configured in a VNet level. So in case if you want to configure Azure firewall, always this needs to be configured in the VNet level. And it's been providing a lot of other features also. When you've been configured or we learned about a cyber security, you maybe heard about the concept of IDBS and all, right? There's a lot in a cyber security. You maybe if anyone has been done any concept of or studied for about features like IDBS kind of a features. That is a kind of a security mechanism generally we are using, like how the network intrusion or the dictation needs to be configured or it needs to be prevented. There is a kind of a concept generally we are using. So basically, if you're taking Azure Firewall, this has been supporting the premium features, so-called premium IDBS support. In case if you want to configure any IDBS or if you want to configure any kind of FQN filtering. FQN filtering is that some particular website needs to be blocked. For example, like in your office, like a daily morning, the users are using a facebook.com or a LinkedIn or a nowcree.com or a monster.com or some unwanted website if they are opening. So if you want to block this website, you can able to do FQDNB filtering, or if you can able to do some service tag or a natting or some kind of a force tunneling if you want to do in an organization. All this can be able to do with the help of in a firewall rule. So technically, in a nutshell, if you are considering firewall is a managed cloud-based network service. With the help of that, you can able to protect you the entire Azure virtual network resources. I'm just pausing here for taking a general question. Now, after that, we'll take a break and we'll see how we can able to configure firewall in a practical way. I'm pausing here for taking a question. If you have any general question related to firewall, let's have a discussion and a debate. If you're good, we'll take a break, and then after break, let's see how to configure a firewall or how to configure a security for your organization. Can you comment it on a chat? If you're good, or you can comment it on the chat window also. If you're good and clear about this concept, if you're clear about how this NSG and firewall has been different, let's have a. So let's waiting for the input from everyone. Thank you, Dino. Wish you a happy Diwali to you as well. Thank you. Yeah, generally the session you need to have a NSG also needs to be configured, but I'm just giving a scenario. You are in an organization. This is your organization. Now you have a VM is been available. It's been configured. This is a user is available. This is a chatbot or is a hacker. Okay, this is a hacker. Hacker has been attacking today to attack your network. Okay, in your outside the network, you've been configured your firewall. Hacker is been used some techniques, chatbot or some technique is been used. Didarshan, I'm answering your question. So okay, now the attacker is been and previously the attacker was only single person. Nowadays they may be using a bot services. So that's been used, and uh, they've been done some bypassing of this one. Now whatever rule is been configured in your firewall is been compromised. Didarshan, what will happen to your network? And you have a VNet has been available here, and your HR database is in here, or confidential auditing report. Everything has been available inside your VM. Is it compromised? Due to some X or this your hacker is a very intelligent person and he's been hacked your firewall and it's been entered into a network. Now, so additional layer of security is being needed here, right? So what will happen now? The VNet level the compromise is happen. Now when it is entered, you have a subnet is here. In a subnet level, if the NSG is available, this can again prevent. There will not be any packet will enter into a VM. Your HR database is not able to enter because NSG will do a second level of verification. This is something like you are working in an organization, multiple companies are there. Outside, you have a main security is here. Main security is allowed the person inside. Now, in front of each company, you have another receptionist or a security person is available. Same mode because NSG will do a validation. Now, here also, if it is been compromised, it won't enter into VM directly because you have NSG or a security person is available in the BNIC level also. Right now, it's been entered. So, so this is the way generally that depends upon how we need to configure. Do we need to block in a port level or you need to do an IP address or an application level? That as an admin, you need to decide that how these need to be verified. Because basically, like if you're selecting application, that's been a port level has been in the backend, it's been mapping. Yesterday, you may be seeing like you are configured a RDP and you have tried for a blocking and allowing. How it was blocking because RDP or the application was identifying with the help of what is the port is been using, right? Because RDP is always having a 3389. HTTP we are blocking, HTTPS we are blocking spin 443, right? So in the port level verification generally. That depends upon what is the type of option you need to be enabled. Based on that, you will take a control or it will be validation or a evaluation. So connecting to the Darshan question, uh, if you are working as a cloud architect or in a hybrid scenario, it's better to have a uh, security to be implemented in different layers. It's not that your firewall is been configured and you cannot say to the client that, hey boss, your complete network have been protected. No, it's not that. You need to ensure that each layer that you've been enabling a security or a protection. I hope it's been clear to you. So thank you team. Let's take a short break and let's take a 10 minutes break and come back. After that, we'll see the practical way of implementing this one. We'll see how this practically this service can be implemented. After that, we'll go for the additional identity management of a solution in the hybrid, and we'll see the, like how hybrid connectivity can be established in a normal typical organizations. So thank you team. Let's take a break. I hope all are back. If you're back, can you comment it on the chat window? Thank you, Sachin. So, Mabel, thank you. Yes, Nawaz also, it's been commented. Now, once you're back, we'll try to understand about Azure Firewall creation. Before that, let me show you some presentations which can be helpful for you. So thank you, team. So we got a few response on the chat. So we were discussing about how the firewall has been configured, right? So that was a topic we were discussing. So, so this is the scenario. So far we've been considered like we are in an organization and you have a multiple regions or a data center has been spread across the world. Now how this uh, security can be implemented, and because your management and leadership was concerned about attack, because many users are connecting to external world, we need to ensure that the traffic is been going to and fro on the network, or it can be inside or outside, needs to be properly managed. So this is the case study or the scenario currently we are being considering. So what are the options we have available for controlling the packet which is going outside or it's been inside also. Now, during before the break, this is the scenario we have been considered. We are in a typical on-premises or a legacy infrastructure. We used to have a multiple servers is been configured like this in a data center or a data room, and we may be using a either appliance or it's maybe using a kind of you may be using a firewall either is in a softwares or it's been like a appliances or a physical or a data center. In the data center you may be using this one, and you have an option for connecting to internet. So if any packet is coming from internet or if any packet is going to internet, typically this was been controlled with the help of a traditional firewall product is been using. So the point we understood, like in a normal on-premises or in legacy model, the entire firewall product, whether it's an appliance or whether it's been software or a hardware, was completely managed by us. So that was the concerns we had in the past. Then we got a new solution. It's called an Azure Firewall. In a Azure Firewall, it's been like instead of doing this, we have a solution is available in the network, like it's called a firewall product. This has been completely managed by the Microsoft itself. So you don't need to worry about what is the backend it's been using. So typically this firewall will be assigned with a public IP address. With the help of the public IP address, you will be interacting the entire organization traffic into outside through the firewall rather than the individual Azure resource is being connected to outside. It has been all the packet will be going to the firewall. A couple of points we have been discussed. The first point was it's been like the firewall is a intelligent product. That means you don't instead of rather than adding only the security rule, this can be connected to Microsoft threat management products, and this will be able to identify common threats and in energy all the action was performed based on the user defined rule, basically known as a security rule. So this basically having a high availability, you don't need to go for any kind of a any kind of additional load balancers. So if you are taking in a Azure firewall, by default it's having a built-in high availability is available. So you don't need to have any extra load balancers are required, and you don't need to configure that also. And the scalability also it's been provided here. So you can the firewall can share scale out as much as you need, and you can able to uh, uh, make we can able to accommodate whatever changes is been coming on the network traffic flow. You don't need to budget any additional cost or a device for in case if there is a peak traffic has been coming. And in a general, if you're taking Azure firewall features, if you're seeing, as I said, like you can limit outbound HTTP traffic. For example, like any specified FQDN, you want to do some kind of a wildcards if you want to add. And the only point you need to remember, you don't have any kind of a TLS termination option is not available here. That is the application for FQL, FQDN filtering you need to remember. And basically, as I said, you need to block some kind of a commonly used website, basically called FQN tagging. If anything, if you want to configure that, you will be able to configure here. Like there is a, in case if you want to configure any kind of a natting, for example, like a outbound source natting or a inbound destination natting, if anything need to be configured it on in a Microsoft Azure firewall, that can be able to support. So typically, Azure firewall has been supporting outbound S natting, and it's been supporting the inbound DNAT also. And you have option to associate multiple public IP address, because if you're taking a typical Azure firewall, your organization architect diagram, or it's been like it's going to be the top view is going to be like this. So typically, this has been providing a uh, connectivity, or it's a kind of a verification, or it's kind of a validation, or it's kind of a protection from a if you're taking OSA layer from L3 to L7 connectivity is being provided. Now, the point you need to remember here, uh, as I said, the perimeter network, this firewall is been placing, so you can able to see all the internal network. This will be all your VNet. For example, like a spoke, there is a term is been coming called a spoke. Spoke means that how generally this has been implemented. If you're seeing here, you have a multiple option you can able to use. One it's been like, I'm just considering like these all are is a VNet. So different VNet is been available. I'm just taking to whiteboard. Now, generally, how this firewall is being configured in your organization. I hope you can able to see my whiteboard. Now, if you're taking your organization cloud infrastructure, you may be having a multiple VNet is configured. You have a multiple VNet is being configured. I'm just having a multiple VNet. Now, there are two ways you can able to configure a firewall in your organization. One, it's like in a VNet level, individual firewall can be configured, and this can be connected to internet. This is one option, like each VNet level you can able to configure. This is another firewall, and this is connected. There's another firewall has been connected. Now, this is the one method you can able to use it. So if any VNet needs to connect each other, so there's a point-to-point connection kind of thing. With this firewall will talk to this firewall. This kind of mode you can able to configure. Now, if you're seeing this point-to-point connection, yes, Angel it's been supported. As I said, it's like Azure Firewall, it's been supported. This IDS and IPS also in the Microsoft firewall. So like if you want to configure IDBS, if you need to configure, it's been supported on the Microsoft firewall. Azure firewall has been offering a IDBS. It's called IDS, and IPS has been supported on the Azure firewall. In case if you want to configure that, it's been supported. Answering to answering to Angel question, yes, Azure firewall has been offering. But there is a, you need to just verify this payload inspection facility. That is one option you need to check it. So that possibly in the security session. So we have another program is coming on the cloud security. So in the November first week or something is coming. So there you may be having some sessions being covered on the cloud security, how IDS and IPS is being included. So there is another program is coming, AZ 500 program, cloud security and network security, cloud security and uh, cloud certification, security certification is separated. Event is been coming. So that time Angel might be able to cover more about IDS and IPS technologies. Now, coming to this question. Now, we all are in a customer place. We have a multiple VNet is been configured right now on the whiteboard. If you can able to look it, you can able to see there is a multiple VNet is been configured, and you have a firewall is been configured like this. So what are the concern, general concern you are going to face it here? Can you comment it? Now this you are in a customer place. You have a multiple VNet is been configured, and each VNet is been configured with a firewall. And what is the concern generally you're going to face it over here? Can you comment it on the chat window? We can take a firewall and create multiple tenant. Okay, firewall is traffic management. Okay. So the problem I'm talking about the concerns where yes, multiple tenant is coming. Second one, it's been like if you observe this a pricing part, this is a there's a cost is involved, right? You see here, like you have multiple firewall is being configured. You think a scenario like in your office you have a 50 VNet is being configured. So how this traffic is going to be in place? So it's been going to be a hectic job you need to do, right? Because there's a lot of manual effort is needed on in the management part, right? So because one is the cost, second one is management of all this firewall is going to be another high hectic job from my individual point of view or from a cloud admin point of view if you're thinking it's going to be a tough job for us. So typically if you're taking in a normal cloud infrastructure rather than going a VNet is configuring like this, we'll be following a standard mode of operation or a general implementation plan. It's called hub and spoke method rather than assigning to individually. You'll be centralized, it will be managed. All your VNet, which is been available in organization, that will be connected directly into the hub and spoke mode. So it's been like a hub and spoke mode only. Generally, we'll be using so like it connected to hub and spoke mode, and all the VNet will be connecting to the same firewall. So it's a centralized management. Now, if you're looking to this previous diagram, you may be able to see this is the mode of operation generally you can able to see in an organization. So the VNet, all the VNet generally known as a spoke. If you are reading any cyber security books or it's like a cloud security books, you may be heard about a term called hub and spoke. So it's like a hub and spoke. This is the mode of operation in case if you are configuring any product like this, it's like a centralized management, generally known as a hub and spoke. It's a point to point also we have, and we have a hub and spoke also. Generally, production scenarios, mostly the cloud security admins will be configuring your network in a hub and spoke mode only. In case if you want to configure it, it will be configured in a hub and spoke mode only. Now, if you're seeing here, this is the typical way of operation right now. All your internal network, basically, this is known as it's called Spoke. This will be connected to Azure Firewall, and Azure Firewall it's been controlling on the layer 3 to layer 7 connection policies. So how firewall is been working? This depends upon how the rules is been configured inside that. Plus, it's a threat intelligent mechanism also have. With the help of that, this is doing a complete management of a traffic management of your system. Now, another point you need to remember based on the rule, your firewall will take a decision either the traffic is been denied or the traffic will be it's been approved also. So you can able to do all kind of a management as either the packet can be uh, allowed or it's been denied also. Now, this can be used for connecting or managing to on premises also. I'm just giving a scenario. You are in a customer place. You are using a 80-20 rule, saying that 20% of the infrastructure still it's been available in your data room or a data center. All that data room or all that device needs to connect you to Microsoft Azure Cloud Data Center. So you need to have some kind of a control over this hybrid model. So this is typically known as a hybrid connectivity. Now, in case if you want to do any kind of a hybrid management, basically like you want to connect to a existing data center or a data room. So all that connection also can be passed through this firewall. So if any traffic is been coming from a on-premises firewall, that traffic can also it's passed through the Azure firewall. So based on the rule, generally it can be able to do a traffic management. So this is a general uh, guidelines so far it's been discussed. It's been like it's been using for a in and out of uh, virtual network management. Basically, this is using for a centralized configuration. Now you can have a multiple VNet or a VM and all can be connected through a central or a one Azure firewall. And in a normal production scenario, for a monitoring purpose, because whatever incident has been occurring because you have some traffic or a packet is been came to your firewall, and you there is some warning or a log or a error is been generated. Now future purpose, if you want to do some root cause analysis, now if you are sitting in a BAU operation and you need to ensure that there is whatever action is being performed on the firewall, you need to do some root cause analysis. In case if you want to do any kind of a log analysis or a monitoring, if you want to do uh, that you can able to do with the help of a Azure monitoring tool. By default, whatever firewall you are implementing in your organization, that can be monitored or that can be integrated with the Azure monitor. So whatever log has been created, that can be created as a inside a log analytics tool. And future, if you want to do any kind of a activity monitoring or a analysis, if you want to do that, you can able to do with the help of Azure monitor. Now, this can be firewall can be used for managing all the resources which been available on the organization, like it is storage, whatever communication is coming to VM or a storage or database or whatever service is available. All traffic management can be able to do with the help of a firewall. So this is a another top view picture, basically how it's been implemented practically in a organization. Now, if you're seeing here in a perimeter network, the firewall will be configured. Now, if any user, if they want to connect from external, they can go connect to a Azure Bastion network. Even the Bastion service also can, traffic can also go through this firewall. Now, if you're connecting from a on-premises network, basically this mode is called as a cloud to on-premises or a data center data room connectivity. If you want to do any this kind of a connectivity, they're basically known as a hybrid connectivity. So typically in your on-premises data center communication from your it's been connecting through a router. In your data center edge or in a perimeter, you will have a router will be available that will help route all the traffic from a data center or a data room to a cloud. So the cloud to data center connectivity will enable through a VPN connection. Basically S2S or like S2S, if you are using all the communication is generally through going through a internet. Now you are in a customer place, and if the customer is looking for a dedicated secure channel for a communication, typically in a normal organization will be using a concept called Azure Express Route. So with the help of a Azure Express Route, the communication between your on-premises to VPN communication to the cloud will be enabled. The point you need to remember, if you're using Azure Express, you will have a two channel will be available. One is a primary circuit and you will have a secondary circuit also. The point, another second point you need to remember, like in case if you are using Azure Express route, you need to have a partner edge server needs to be available. That's called, you need to have a some tie up with a ISP provider like a British Telecom or a Airtel or it's a Reliance or a other vendor who has been providing the service to here, because you need to have a dedicated connection between a cloud and between your on-premises data center. So the point here, it's been like when you're using Azure Express route, the channel or the traffic is not going through internet. We have a dedicated connectivity available. Now, in case if you have a connectivity between on-premises and cloud, and if you're connecting, as I said, in the on-premises, you will have a router will be available. With the help of a router, this will be connected to the VPN gateway. Are we facing any audio issue? Any audio issues coming? Okay. because I in my secondary monitors in between my ODs got stuck, so that reason just got confused. In between, I just got some audio issues. That's that reason I asked. So in between, I got some question. Can we add IP route for a different subnet? Generally, Sachin, that's been using a different term called routing. This one possible after this, I'll show you that. Can you remind me after this one firewall? So I'll show you that. That generally it's been configured with a concept called route table, and there is a concept called BGP also. By default, if you want to use any routing to be enabled in your organization, that generally it's been done with the help of routing options. I'll show you that how this generally it's been done. Possible after this session, I'll help you to clear that out. Remain me after this one, okay? So right now your answer, yes, we can able to do. There are three more is generally doing. One is a system route. Second one it's been a route table. That's a manual route. And in case if you are using a VPN gateway, you can able to use a BGP kind of a protocol. I'll come to that point possible after this firewall session. Now, okay, give me a second. So, okay, so we were discussing about connectivity between your on-premises to cloud. So the point we understood, like in case if you are doing any kind of a connectivity from a on-premises to a cloud, you need to have a router to be placed in your cloud scenario, in a on-premises scenario, and you need to have a service needs to be enabled in a cloud that basically known as a VPN gateway. So you need to have a VPN gateway to be available in the cloud side. And all this traffic, so as I said, like if you're configuring a firewall, the traffic from your on premises to cloud or any connection is coming directly to your organization. It's called through a bastion service or a gem server. All that traffic can be moved or it's been passed through the Azure firewall. And this Azure firewall can be configured with a or integrated with a Azure Monitor also, because Azure monitoring is a monitoring as a service feature is been available in your organization. So in case if you want to do any kind of a log analysis or a future troubleshooting if you want to do, then you can able to do Azure monitoring also. So this can be integrated with a Azure Monitor. And this is a model generally we are using. It's a spoke and a hub kind of a model. You can able to see like you have a multiple VNet is been configured here. Even though if you have a multiple subnet and NSG is configured, this is been finally connecting to the external world only through the firewall only. You don't have any separate external window is been opened. So all this communication is being going through the firewall only. So this is basically a mode generally we are using that's called hub and spoke. So hub and spoke means that in a simple term, this will be acting as a central point. Now this is the way it's been doing. Now let's try to do a lab here. We are trying to do a lab here. You have a two subnet. Um, One, it's been configured in a subnet A, and the second one is been configured in subnet B. And we are trying to do a couple of management of traffic on in a network. So this is the lab right now we are trying to do it. This code. I'm just giving a scenario. You are in a customer place. You have created a virtual network that's called 10.2.0.0.16, and in one subnet you have created a VM called a VM1, and it's got a private IP address. There is no public IP address. Now, another point you need to remember, uh, if you are seeing here this centralized management, the firewall which you are configuring here, generally the firewall will get a two IP address. One, it will get a public IP address here. So with the help of a public IP address, you will be able to manage or able to connect it to an external network. And this Azure firewall will be getting a private IP address also. With the help of a private IP address, you will be able to connect to the internal network also. Technically speaking, this firewall will be configured or it's been available with the two IP address. One is a public IP address and it will be getting a uh, private IP address also. All other resources which you are using, for example, like you are using a VNet here. So this VNet is been configured only with a private IP address. You don't have any kind of a public IP address has been available here. So this is only available with a uh, private IP address only. So that's one point you need to remember. Now let's go to a lab. We are in a customer place. You have a firewall has been available here. So for example, like you have a subnet. Inside a subnet, you have a VM is being configured. You have a 10.2.0.0.0, and you have another firewall is being configured. Now, the point you need to remember whenever you are configuring a firewall, by default, there is a subnet is been created. There is a Azure firewall subnet is been created automatically. So whenever you want to configure any firewall in your organization, uh, firewall network will be configured in a different subnet, and your production or a development or all other network will be in another subnet. Big generally, your firewall network or IP address or a subnet is been not mixed with your production one. So that because of a security purpose, always your firewall it's been configured in a different subnets. That's important point you can able to remember. So you have a different subnet will be available, and you have a separate subnet is available for your production or other resources in hosting. So always will have a different subnets been available. So you can able to see here. This is the lab right now we are going to do. So let's create a firewall. Now, before moving to the firewall lab, if you have any general question related to firewall, let's have a discussion. Yes, Ko is asking like, is there any natting is been available? Yes, Ko, if you're taking a firewall, basically the firewall is been working on based on through three rules. One is a NAT rule, network rule, and application rule. So with the help of that, the firewall is been working. Once your firewall is implemented, you will be able to see there's a natting is been feature is been available there. So natting is been supported. So, and additional to netting, you have an application rule and you have a concept of network rule also it's been available. So the only way to connect with the Azure cloud from an on-premise in site to site VPN, or is there any other method that's been uh, available from your side? In case if you want to connect it from on-premises to here, Sandesh is asking like a question like, is there any possibility to connect? Sandesh, you're answering to a question. Let me take you into your whiteboard. Now Sandesh is in a customer place. Um, Almost an hour now. Maybe I know you maybe have to go. Today's Friday. I know a few people may have to go for a prayer today. So Sandesh, I'm answering to a question. Like we are in a customer place. You have a on-premises data center is available, and you have a cloud infrastructure has been available. Now your question is like, what are the options available in front of us, uh, available in an organization for connecting this one, right? One scenario, it's been like, if you have an individual user is been available, I'm just giving an individual user. Okay, Sandesh is an individual user, and you have a VM is available here. This is a VM. Now, Sandesh, if you want to connect it individual ways, you can connect it. We are discussing about the different options. Okay, you can connect using a public IP address. This method you may be already clear about that. Now, due to some cost or a part issue, we are not using this option. Second option, what we can use, it's been like, you can implement a concept called gem server or a gateway server. Second option. So the problem here, it's been like, you have a ISAS management is coming to picture. Now another option, bastion service, you can use it. Now all these options available from on premises also. If you have any user is available here, or the user, for example, like you have a user is available on premises, users can use it. Bastion service, users can use a bastion service. They can use a public IP address. They can use a firewall, and they can use a P2S VPN or site completely managed S2S VPN, or they can use a method called Azure Express VPN. Now, if you're not happy with all this point, for example, like if you don't want to connect all the resource needs to be connected here, only Active Directory. There are some situation like you have a Active Directory has been placed in your organization. For example, like you have a DC is configured here. DC was a critical here. All the user, all the VMs, everything it's been moved to cloud. Only the DC has been available in data center. Now all user needs to be verified. When I have a user here, now when the user want to do a verification either on a single sign-on or some authentication or authorization we need to do. So technically this needs to be done in a DC here, but unfortunately DC is an on-premises one. Now Active Directory also supporting Azure AD, but unfortunately the DC still is in the um, here on premises or a data room or a data center. So that kind of a situation, you may be able to use a feature called AD Connect. So with the help of that, you can able to use. So answering to Sandesh question. So these are the few mode of operations generally we are using for a hybrid scenarios. So in case if you want to connect, so like if you want to use it or if you want to connect it here, these are the hybrid scenario. It's been available in front of you. I hope Sandesh it's been clear about the concept now. If you're clear, you can able to comment it on the chat so I can move to the next question. Yes, thank you, Sandesh. Yes, okay. Now, another question has been like a course question is already a answer. Yes, we have a answering to course questions. Typically, if you are taking Azure Firewall, as I said, this has been working in a perimeter network based on the policies, firewall policy. Typically, this basically known as firewall is basically working about with the help of a concept called firewall policies. So basically this has been working on three mode of operation. One is called NAT rule. Second one is known as a application rule. And the third one is called network rule. So it's the entire firewall has been working based on these three elements: NAT rule, application rule, or a network rule. So connecting to cause your question, NATing is being supported, and there you can able to configure. As I said, it's a source NAT or a destination NAT. You will be able to configure it over here. Now, Shamim is asked about a question like when we will finish today's session. So possible in another hour. So I know this today is Friday and people may have to go for namaz. So you can go for the prayer, no issues, and you can um, refer the recorded session. And if there is any doubt, you can post in the Discord or you can ask in the next event. Now, Ko is asking like, is there any scenario to detect a report mitigated DDoS attack to assure loud notes? Yes. Basically, when you are connecting on an Azure network, DDoS attack is one of the common issues nowadays it's been facing, right? Uh, I'm just taking to a scenario. It's been like in a, I'm just going back to a scenario connecting to a course question. When we had in a olden days, you may be now answering to your questions. Like you are in a customer place, and the course question was related like when we are implementing a firewall, is there any DDoS is been available or the uh, generally DDoS is been not enabled in a firewall level. If you are taking a Microsoft Azure, this is typically it's been enabled in a VNet level. Whenever you're configuring a VNet, by default, this DDoS is been enabled. Now, if you may be remembering olden days, we used to have a kind of a cyber attack, right? Your website is been continuously it's been hacked, and you may be facing a lot of issues saying that it's been unresponsive or the website has been not responding performance properly, or you may be you have been having a lot of issues been available, right? So this is the scenarios in olden days. That's basically known as a DOS. That's called denial of a service. That was the common symptom all of us are currently facing in an operation role, because the attacker or the cyber person who's sitting on other side, their goal or their vision is to like prevent or to ensure that whatever service or a system currently you're using is been uh, continuously so need to bring it down. That is the situation. That was the olden days like a denial of a service attack, that is called a DOS attack. But now if you're taking olden days, that attack was originating only from a one system. But nowadays, the system or the concept is being changed. Right now, people are using a both kind of a services, and from using a multiple network or a multiple system, this attack is been it's been attacking this target victim. It can be a website, or it can be a VM, or it can be a service or an application. So this typically this is known as a DDoS. So because this attack generally is known as a distributed denial of services. Basically, it's trying to train your whatever API or applications you are currently using, and to ensure that the endpoint is being targeted. So to ensure that this will be not reachable from this one, and end of that attack or end of that result, either your app is goes down, or you may be face a lot of issues related to the soreness. So because of that, either the organization maybe start doing enabling or initiating a auto scaling kind of a feature. For example, like you are continuously you are getting a hit on your website. So you may be configured some kind of a threshold in your host, saying that if the hit or the response if you are getting on in a website, if it is reaching on a particular threshold, enable auto scaling. So your system will automatically will add additional host, and finally you will end with a lot of billing. So either your website goes down, or your uh, system or application becomes slow, or you may be ending with a lot of huge bill because of unlimited auto scale. So this is the common result generally we are facing in a DDoS attack. Now, when it is coming on in a normal scenario in a Microsoft OS, or the was asking like, is the feature is been supported on the firewall? Now, the answer to that question, uh, DDoS prevention or it's been mitigations plan is been not enabled in a firewall level. Typically, this has been enabled in a VNet level itself. Basically, if you are taking a Microsoft Azure solution, there is a two plan. It's been coming for preventing this DDoS attack. The first one is known as a DDoS basic plan. There is a two mode or there's a two type of plan is been available for preventing this one. One is called DDoS protection basic, and the second one is known as a DDoS protection standard. That depends upon how you need to prevent your need to prevent this kind of a cyber attack in this one. So DDoS protect, now people may be getting a question: is there any charge or is it a free product? Now, if you're taking a Microsoft Azure, the first point as a cloud admin or a hybrid administrator, you need to understand this product or this feature is not enabled in a firewall level. Basically, this is been enabled in a VNet level. Let me take you into your VNet. Maybe at the time of a VNet creation, if you take a we haven't discussed this at DDoS here, so it's not that you missed the session. We haven't discussed this point. So happy that you've been brought this topic on the table. So because many times people may be having a thought like by default the DDoS protection feature is been enabled in the firewall level. No, so this happy that you brought this agenda on the in front of us. So it's been good. So like happy to have a debate on that. It's good that all of us can learn also. So that's been a practical way of approach, right? So right now, let me show you this. Now answering to your question right now, this as I know policy was enabled on in my account. That's the reason account got locked out. Let me enable or log in it again. So sign in timeout is again. So okay, so saying that was I need to log in again. Okay, yeah, luckily the password I given has been working. Okay, now answering to your question, you may be able to see here this option when you try to create all of us when you used to create a VNet, you may be seeing a couple of options here, right? For example, like you used to get an option for selecting a subscription. You selected a resource group where you want to create. I just given a test in network, whatever. Now, on top of that, you may be able to see there is a 5 option has been coming on top of the network, right? You may be able to see the option called IP address. There is an option called security, right? You may be able to see security. Now, this is the place where you are enabling your DDoS. So I'm trying to say that your DDoS for protection, that's a cyber attack, if you want to prevent, this feature has been not enabled in a perimeter level. This has been additional layer, it's been configured. Where this has been enabled, this is not enabled in a subnet level, or this is not enabled in a VNIC level, or is not enabled in a firewall level. Instead of that, this has been enabled in a virtual network level. So this option, um, it's been coming at the virtual network properties where you're selecting a virtual network. You may be able to see an option like a DDoS protection. Do you need to enable? Hey admin, do you need to enable this DDoS attack protection cyber plan or a mitigation plan? So the option right now, you may be able to see on your screen, along with your DDS, you may be able to see there is a plan also, right? Protection standard. So the reason it's like why this has been showing a protection standard. Now, if you are taking a DDoS pricing tag, basically DDoS protection part, Microsoft is coming with a 2 plans. One, it's been a completely free product that's called a basic plan. Second one is called a DDoS premium plan. There is a premium plan for that you need to pay some amount, or there's a pay as you go model, some amount we need to pay. But there is a reason behind that. I'll tell you what is the reason. Right now, you need to understand this feature is being enabled in a virtual network level, and by default, basic or a free product is being enabled for all the VNet which you are creating. You don't need to pay anything for that. If you want to go for the premium plan, additional security, additional features if you need, additional features, you may be wondering what is this additional feature, right? Now, if you're seeing like in a additional feature means that if you're in a customer place, if there is some attack is been happening, and because of any DDoS attack, if your website or a server is went down, Microsoft will give you free service points to you. That's a service credit point. If because of any DDoS attack, your website is been down, Microsoft, if you are taken a protection standard, they will be giving an additional point to you. There is a service credit, so that will be deducted from your monthly bill, and the additional service points you will be getting. Second one, you will be able to connect with directly with the Microsoft dedicated team, basically known as a DRR team. That's called DDoS Protect Rapid Response. For example, like in your office, due to some cyber attack, you have a website or application is down, you have a extra privilege, or you are getting a flexibility to connect to dedicated team who can help to mitigate that. That facility only you will get in case if you are selected a protection standard one. So you have a dedicated option you'll be getting, so you can able to connect with them, and it can able to always this table or this mitigation attack type Microsoft is used to update. So they will have able to mitigate a couple of commonly used or commonly type uh, protections attacks, so they'll be able to mitigate that. Now, this, as I said, this has been enabled in a virtual network level. In case if you want to do this, basically it's been enabled in a virtual network level. Now, these are the few additional features you will be getting, like in case if you are enabled in a DDoS standard or in a basic in your organization. For example, like you have a lot of production or logging or a alert or a telemetry, or it's like additional option, or it's administrative tool or a feature, generally will be getting on in the Microsoft side. So like in case if you are going for a standard. So end of this session or end of this event, you need to understand firewall DDoS has been not enabled in a firewall level. This basically it's been configured in a VNet level, and there is a two plan has been available. One is a basic plan, and second one it's been having a standard plan. So with the help of that, you can able to do monitoring, and you can prevent this kind of a cyber attack in your organization. Now, if you go back to the portal, you may be able to see these options over here. So like in a VNet, you can able to enable it here. The similar option you can able to see at the time of a VM creation also. The moment when you try to create a VM, there is a security option in the management networking tab. You may be able to see it here. Sometimes you may be able to see here network security group or management. No, it's not a advanced option. No, it's been available in the networking only. It's been removed. Previously, there was an option used to get here. Now it's been removed. So basically, this has been getting a virtual network. Now, few people may be getting a question in case I have not enabled this feature in this DDoS attack feature mitigation option is in the my network. How to enable it back, because I already created a virtual network. So nothing to worry. You can go to this virtual network. By default, basic plan is enabled. If you want to go for the higher or a premium version, you can select it, the particular virtual network. You may be able to see here DDoS protection. Right now, the premium plan is not enabled. One option is like in the left side resource bar, you may be able to see option called DDoS protection, or in the overview, you may be able to see here from if you're clicking here, this will be taking to the same tab, and where you can able to enable it here. You just enable this tab. So you need to have additional payment to be paid. Now, I hope your question is got answered. If you are okay with that, yes. Is there any SLA in pricing? Yes. Always there is a SLA for all the product. It's been available on Microsoft, including a firewall or all the resources been it's configured. You can refer this page. What is the SLA terms and condition for all the resource which been hosted on the Microsoft? You can able to see it from this page. So this will be beautifully explained what is the SLA agreement or the SLA standard or the commitments Microsoft Azure is have. So if you are selecting here, you can able to see all the products, because in the day when we had a discussion saying that 100 plus service Microsoft is having. So what is the SLA commitments Microsoft is having? You can able to get it from here. For example, like if you are taking a compute, I'm just giving a compute. Let's go to virtual machine. If you are selecting here, you may be able to see what is the SLA commitment Microsoft is been providing this one, like a 99 percentage or a 92. What is the SLA they're getting? In case if you are not able to ensure this SLA, so there will be some service credit point you will be getting. So you can able to see beautifully Microsoft is explain the commitment, the scope for this one, and how the availability is being provided and what is the plan it's having on the portal. This you can able to get it from here. Can be IP router? Can be yes. Can we add IP route for a different subnet? Yes, we can able to add. There is a concept is called routing. That I'll be coming to that after this firewall. Now, is a firewall and VPN is a different component? Yes, Sachin. Firewall and VPN are different component, and this need to be VPN gateway is a different component. Now, if you go to a Microsoft portal, you can able to see a gateway. You can able to see a virtual network gateway is a separate resource group. This is basically acting like a router, or in case if you are configuring any kind of a VPN or this kind of activity, this generally using. So technically speaking, yeah, firewall is a different resource. Network gateway it's been a different resource. In a practical and the real scenario, your network gateway and your Azure firewall both are going to work in a hand-to-hand mode, because whatever traffic you may be observed here, for example, like typically the virtual network kind way it's generally using, like if you are in a on-premises solutions, if you want to implement, so like you have a kind of a hybrid connectivity is been coming to a picture. So that generally handled with the help of a VPN gateway. Sachin, you were asking about a routing protocol, right? Generally, your BGP kind of a protocol generally used to enable in a VPN gateway level. So similar like your router, how generally it's been configured in a traditional on-premises legacy model, right? So similar kind of a router features or a service you generally are getting on in a cloud scenario with the help of a VPN gateway. So VPN gateway traffic, whatever traffic has been coming to a gateway, generally it's been entered into your infrastructure, or it's been going to outside your network through a firewall. Now other questions available on the chat. So let's take it. So is there any scenario? Yes, it's been, yes, nothing has been covered. Any other questions, team? If you're comfortable, can you comment it on the chat? In case if I missed any questions also, because uh, sometimes during the delivery I may be not looking to the chat window, so in case if I missed any question in the past, is not purposefully, this is by mistake, it's been like it's missing. In case if I missed something, you can remind me by reposting that question again, rather than let me going back to the old chat. If you can, any question has been pending, any doubt still if you have, you can comment it on the chat. And if you're good, at least one comment on the chat if you're good, so that we can I can understand like we both are on the same page. So thank you, Sandesh, for commenting. So waiting the response from the rest of the members also. If you're good to move to the practical side of this, we can go it. So thank you, team. So we got a few response. So thank you for that. So let's move to the practical side of this firewall. Now, right now we are in a customer place and we need to implement a firewall. Let's go to the Azure portal. Let me. So right now we are going to implement a lab here. So this is the lab we are trying to implement here. So right now we are going to implement a lab like this. So you have having a 2 VM. For example, like instead of 2, let's make it is 0. Okay, let's make it 0 and try to connect it using a firewall. Now let me delete this existing resource group. So it will ensure that we both are on the, so there will not be any confusion. Like sometimes people will think what is the IP address because it's been created yesterday. So let me do some housekeeping activity before moving to this firewall lab. So this will ensure that the system, so it's mean there will not be any facing any kind of issues. Let me delete some unwanted service which has been configured on this account. Hardly it will take 2 minutes, so we need to wait. So the lab currently we are going to do, let me take you into whiteboard. We are in a customer place. We need to enable a firewall solution. The solution is something like this. We need to create a virtual network called HR network, East US region or X or Y region. I'm going to create a virtual network for this 10.0.0.0.0/60. Inside that, I've been created a subnet. Let's take it a subnet TA. From here again, I done a subnetting of your IP address 10.0./24. Inside that, I'm enabling a VM. I have enabled a VM. This VM is got a private IP address 10.0.4. So this is the lab right now we are going to do. Now I have an internet is available. Now this is a one VM. Similar way, I have 1,000 VM is been available in network. Now I need to enable a firewall here. So I can able to block all the traffic which is going to internet. For example, like I have a user here, always he's been in office time he's been using a facebook.com, or there is some YouTube channel he's watching. I need to block that. So this is the request for the NDR network. I need to block it. Let's see how this can be able to do. So for implementing this, what is the first solution I need to do? I need to ensure that there is a VM is been configured. I need to ensure that there is a subnet is been configured. I need to ensure that there is a VNet is configured. Once this is done, I'll enable a firewall service. Then second one, on top of this, once the firewall is been configured, I will define policy for my organization saying that Facebook needs to be blocked. Then I need to block youtube.com, or I need to block some particular IP address which is entering from outside. So this kind of policy I need to configure it here. And we'll try to do some kind of a natting also. How to do this one. So right now, this is the lab currently we are going to implement like a kind of a scenario. The users want to connect from a VNet into external world. So let's implement this. Uh, this lab scenario, any question from anyone? Can you comment it on the chat? I hope this scenario has been clear to you, right? Sandesh is saying fine. Rest of the members, if you can help me to, Nawaz, is you're not clear, or your noise mean like it's not clear, or like do you need to repeat? No, oh, cool, oh, good. Okay, so now it's been Cam is saying clear. Okay, Sarang also it's been good. Okay, it's okay. Thank you. Because Nawaz, I got confused. Like it's no means that not clear. That's I took in the second. Okay, good. Now let's go to the cloud portal. Yeah. So let me connect to the cloud portal now. Resource deletion is in a progress, so we need to wait a minute. So we need to wait a second. So let's wait for that. So meanwhile, let me get a glass of water also. Just give me a second. So I'm back. Right now you can able to see we had done a housekeeping on this portal. Right now we don't have any resource group has been available. Now, right now we are in a customer place. We are trying to implement a firewall. Now, let's start with a virtual machine here. I'm going to create a first virtual machine here. Create a virtual machine. I'm creating a first virtual source group. Sorry, I'm directly go to virtual machine instead of creating like this. I don't have a resource group, so let's create a resource group. Firewall group. I just given firewall group. Virtual machine name I'm giving it's called demo VM. I'm trying to create in the North Europe availability set. I don't need any availability set right away. Selecting Windows Server 2019 data center version. So any version has been fine for us because we are not doing any much activity on the level. Now we need to have a different uh, range needs to be created on the network level. So let me create DRG admin password. I'm giving as a password. So let me give a username and password. Now NSGs we already am enabling for the RDP. Disk, I'm not going to make any changes. In the networking side, I'm going to make some changes here. So I've been enabled a uh, firewall group here and IP address is given as in 10.0.16. So this I'll use for the production network. Prod I'll be using a 10 production network. This is a restaurant payment production. So I'll be using a 10.0. Is been the production network. For the firewall, I'll use a separate subnet because I need to ensure that your firewall and my production network are being placed in a isolated network. Both are in a different one. So I need to give a separate subnet for firewall. I'm giving like a Azure firewall. Always you need to give the name like this. Okay. So because Microsoft Azure algorithm is been working based on this only. So you need to give algorithm like this. So 10.0 dot let's give 1.0 dot slash 24. So this is the firewall I'm using. Okay, so firewall group also has been created. Right away, we don't need any public IP address here. I'm giving like a none. I'm not giving, I don't need any public IP address for my VM. Right away, I've been created a firewall and the subnet has been placed in a 0.4. So once we have in place, we don't need to so the problem right away we are going to face like if I don't have any public IP address, I will not be able to log into this VM, and we will see that. So we'll use a so the technically what we are going to use, we are going to use a firewall service for connecting a remote desktop. So let's create review and create it. So right now the lab right now we are doing, we are in a customer place and we need to implement a firewall solution. So right now we have been created a VM. Now along with the VM, we tried for adding a virtual network also. In a virtual network, we have configured a multiple subnet. Let's wait 1 or 2 minutes. So the VM creation has been completed. Now, if you go to the virtual machines here, you may be able to see there is a demo of VM has been created in the North Europe region. The point you need to notice here, right now the VM is being created with a private IP address. So you can able to see you have a VM is been created. There is no public IP address available. So technically speaking, if you go back to this whiteboard, you have a VM is been created here. This is the VM is been created. There is a 10.0.0.4 IP address is been created here, right? Now I'm a user. I'm sitting in Indonesia. Now I need to connect to this VM, and where is this VM is being connected is East to US. Can you comment on the chat using this private IP address? Can we connect from Indonesia to this VM? Can you comment it on the chat? If yes, what is the reason? If answer is no, what is the reason? You need to write both the answers. OK, this is an assessment for you. Both the answers, if instead of putting yes or a no, I request you to post the reason behind that also. This is self-evaluation, not for me. This is for self-evaluation to you. Can you comment why we are not able to connect? Or if yes, why we are able to connect? So let's wait a response from everyone here. Jelma, Nawaz, Ko has been answered. It's been no route. OK, so let's wait for the rest of the members also. This is self-evaluation for you. OK, it's a kind of assessment for you because last couple of hours we had a debate and discussion on this topic. So if you can able to answer this one, so you are a master in networking now. And if you're not able to do, you may have to uh, refresh. You want to recap the topic, whatever we have covered also. OK, it's OK. So we can able to see few answers are coming up. Let's, you don't need to copy also from the whatever it's been posted. You post your answer. So try to understand, try to answer it yourself. OK, so I'm noting this all details. Yes, so we need we have 100 plus members here. So expecting all the members, I'm expecting plus 4 days of a sessions like this answer you will be able to confidently you will be able to answer it. So let's post it. Okay, so we are getting few more answers. So another 15 seconds for answering this one. So the reason it's been like how, so I think most of the members is commented or it's been pointed to one common issue. This has been like this is an IP address. We won't be able to route in the internet. So that's the reason. Now the customer has been implemented this solution for blocking the Facebook and Facebook, YouTube, everything. But right now we don't have any option to connect to the remote desktop. So we have another concern also. It's been raised. We need to take a RTP. Now let's see how this can be implemented here. So we need to do some kind of a application or a network level of a filtering or a management. Additional to that, we got a responsibility of providing some connectivity to the network also. Now let's go back to the portal. VM is only one VM for a demo VM has been created, but when it is coming on a real practical scenario, instead of one demo VM, you may be having 1,000 or a 2,000 VM will be coming in reality or in a real case studies. Now let's try to install a Azure firewall service. Now for mitigating or for providing this kind of a solution, we need to go for a solution called firewall. So with the help of a firewall, this you are going to configure in the perimeter network. So I'm going to install a feature called firewall. So you can go to the search bar. Since if there is a this option is been not added as a favorites here because this is a favorite option, right? So you can able to go to the firewall. In the firewall option, you can able to select. I remember there was a question yesterday on the chat way I'm not able to see the same screen like me because there are some options are not available here. I remember there was a question is posted yesterday, but I missed to answer that. So the reason it's like this all it's been the way how you are configuring your appearance. So in the once you log in on the top portal, you may be able to see there is a gear kind of a symbols, right? So the moment when you log in the right side top, you may be able to see there is a gear symbol you may be able to see, right? If you are able to see that is a settings button. In the settings button, you may be able to see an option called appearance and startup view because you may be noticed yesterday there was a one question is posted on the chat and due to other hot debate we missed that question and I think the same the person who's been asked this one maybe is still waiting for this answer, so sorry for that. Yesterday we missed your question not purposefully. So the reason behind that this all it's been depends upon how you configuring your appearance or the portal management because of that. So by default, this option won't be available. In case if you want to enable, you can go to this, click on this gear symbol, and you can able to select an option called appearance and startup, where you can able to enable it. Maybe you may be getting a screen like this. So the person who asked this question, you may be getting a screen like this, or you may be not seeing this kind of option. The reason it's like this all depends upon how you configured your startup view or how you configured your theme, because there are some situation in your office, maybe your friends Azure portal window maybe in a black screen or in a green screen or a light mode or a blue mode. That's always been depends upon how you configuring your window here. So in this doctor mode, if you're selecting, you will get a resource panel, and this options you can able to select it over here. So I'm comfortable in the gray mode, so I've been going back here. So that's the answer for that. It's because of the appearance you are configuring. Right now we are going to configure a firewall. So click on the search bar and select an option called firewall. So if you are selecting a firewall option, first it will show you a kind of a dashboard. If anything is being configured here, this will display over here. Fortunately or unfortunately, we are not configured any firewall option here. So the point you need to remember, whenever you're going to configure a firewall, the same location you need to configure. So right now I'm going to configure a firewall here. For example, like a firewall. I need to select an option like a create a firewall. So I'm selecting a subscription where I need to configure. I selected an option called I need to connect to a resource group also. I selected is the firewall group. So right now I'm just giving like a internal firewall, or it's a firewall name you can give. For example, like it's a firewall for my organization. So the same region where you've been configured. So let's say North Europe, right? So I think the let me go back to the resource group here. So where it's been created, North Europe. Okay, just trying to select the same location so there will not be any kind of a confusion here. So I'm selecting the same group firewall, North Europe. Where is North Europe? North Europe. Right now, a couple of availability options or a zone you can able to select. Right now, I'm not going for any of this method. Now, based on the feature, like some additional capability or a feature you want to get, because in the during the discussion, we got some question like, is it IDBS support or IPS support or IDS support? So all it depends upon what is the type of uh, Azure firewall submodel is being supported. So you can able to see there's a different mode or a firewall option is being available. Each mode or each plan having a different features are supported. See here, basically it's been supported basic, standard, and a premium. So each mode is having different features or capabilities Microsoft is giving. So when we are getting a free time, have a you can able to refer this up portal where you will be getting a complete details about the cost and the pricing and uh, capabilities being supported in each. Yeah, thank you, Pravas. It was a nice discussion. So a lot of questions has been asked from here also. Uh, Possibly in another 10 to 15 minutes, we'll wind up this session because most of the members also need to leave for this Juma. So thank you, Pravas. So wish you all the best and wish you a great success on the cloud platform. Possibly in another event, I hope we can able to meet. So thank you and take care. Now come back to this session. We are trying to discuss about a different firewall options here. So we have a different firewall options you are able to see here. So based on what is the type of the mode you want. So based on that, you will be able to select here. And there is a different firewall policies and options also you can able to see basically like how the firewall rule or the policies you need to configure. So based on that, you can able to configure. Basically, if you're selecting here, there is a basic or premium or standard rule or a premium rules you can able to see here. Basically, if you're able to see any firewall rule, basically it depends upon how the policy needs to be configured. Based on that, you can able to uh, define a policy. Basically, there's a classic rule or there's a two rule you'll be using like how the rule needs to be processed, how the policy needs to be processed in your that you can able to define the firewall policy. Let me create a new firewall policy. I'm saying like a new policy has been configuring firewall policy. Region, it's been the name North Europe, where the metadata needs to be saved. That's the reason of it. I given it's been North Europe. Now, virtual network. So I'm selecting like this is like what is the virtual network needs to be used here. So I'm just giving, or I'm using existing network. Let's use the existing one. We already have it. VNet has been available. So it's asking like, uh, is there any uh, public IP address needs to assign here. So there's one more point you need to remember. In case if you're not configured any subnet in this network, generally you'll be getting a error message here saying that you are trying to create a firewall, but there is no subnet has been available. So I'm saying like there is a subnet is already available. That's the reason we are not getting an error message. Generally, if there is no subnet has been configured in that particular network, generally you'll get error message because right now there is a subnet has been already created here. For example, like if you go to the same network right now where you're mapping inside a firewall group, right? If you go to a firewall here, virtual network, you may be able to see inside a subnet. There is a two subnet is already created. See here, there is a firewall subnet is already created. That's the reason you are not getting any error message. If the firewall subnet is was not configured over the, you will be getting an error message. Right now I'm saying like there is a public IP address I need because this firewall is going to connect to external network also. I'm saying like a firewall public IP address, firewall PIP. I'm just saying a firewall public IP address. I assigned a public IP address for my Azure firewall. So right now, after this, the firewall will be getting a two IP address. One, it's the firewall will be getting a private IP address, and the second one it's been using a firewall will be getting a public IP address. So the public IP address right now it's been getting is using for the external communication. Whatever private IP address your firewall has been getting, that you've been using for the internal communication. So all the traffic once you've been created here, it will be doing the all the traffic management from the internal to internet, or this will handle the all the VNet to VNet communication or net to internal communication also. It's been handled. So right now I'm saying like a initialize. I'm saying like it's deployed initially here. So right now the firewall creation is in a progress. It will take hardly 4 to 5 minutes, so we need to wait. So it's been still is in a progress state, so we need to wait. So let's wait for completing this one. Meanwhile, if you have any other questions. So thank you, Razib. So I missed your message. Thank you, Razib. So wish you a great career in cloud. So possible we can able to meet in the next event. So ensure you are following this Discord link. So you'll be able to get all the notification. Thank you, Razib. Take care. So right now the firewall creation is in progress. It will take some time. So we need to wait. Meanwhile, if you have any general questions, happy to pick all that questions and answer it. So right now the firewall deployment is in a progress state. So right now you can able to see successfully we have implemented a firewall. So we are getting a notification. So this will help to configure all kind of a policies here. Now, if you go back to the firewall option, go to inside a firewall, you may be able to see there is a firewall service is been enabled. Now, if you're clicking inside a firewall, right now we haven't configured any policies or we haven't configured any kind of a rules here, right? So you can see firewall has been assigned a private IP address here. You can able to see there is a private IP address been assigned and there is a public IP address also it's been assigned. So end of this session, you need to understand the firewall has been technically it's been assigned with both the policies. Like it's been getting a private IP address and it's been getting a public IP address also. It's based on which VNet it's been assigned. From there, it'll be getting IP address. And if you click on this public IP address, you will be able to see there is a public IP address also has been assigned to you. See here, there is a public IP address also it's been assigned. Now, if you select here, rules are defined. Now, right now, you're not able to see any rules here. So in case if you want to see a rules here, you need to go to the rules options here. There is a firewall policy. There is a firewall policies. It's been needs to be configured. Now, all the policy you can able to see here. So based on that, uh, basically the firewall rules is been configured based on what is the type of the rule it's required, like a netting or a network rule or an application rule. So this kind of a rules you need to configure. So based on that, the IP address is been configured here, or based on that, your firewall is going to work in the real scenario. So right now the firewall is configured. That doesn't mean that it's going to block everything because you need to define a policy here, like either it's a NAT rule or a network rule or a application rule. You need to configure. Now, right now we have been a VM is been configured. Now let's see how this VM can able to access from your outside a network. For example, like I have a VM, it's been available in the network. Right now we don't have an IP address. Now let's go to the destination NAT rule here. I'm just going to a destination rule here. So right now I'm going to configure a rule here, saying that a rule, I'm just trying to do a RDP rule here. So I'm going to configure it's a rule collection. I'm seeing a rule here. I'm saying that RDP rule for my VM. Okay, RDP rule I'm configuring here. For example, like RDP rule. So where I'm going to configure, this is a destination NAT. So generally there is a priority needs to be configured here. Always is like 100 to 6000. I'm saying like 100. So I'm saying that the role group is been like a DNAT rule, saying that I have a VM inside this one. This needs to connect it from external. Now, what is the destination here? Destination I need to give, saying that if anyone has been connecting from an external source, what is the source IP address we need to provide here? Source IP address can be any, okay? Because source IP address, for example, like I'm giving my, for example, like from my desktop, I need to connect to this uh, VM, for example. So I need to type what is my public IP address. I'm just typing what is my public IP address. So destination port is going to be a firewall set. So right now I need to connect to my demo VM. So right now from where I'm going to connect it here, I'm connect from my laptop. So from which laptop I'm going to connect? So source IP address of my laptop. So right now I'm just saying, right, what is my public IP address? I'm just giving like what is my public IP address. I'm typing here. I'm trying to find out what is my public IP address. My public IP address is 150 dot. This is my public IP address saying. So this I'm just giving 150 dot 129 dot 101 dot 196. From this location, I've been right now my laptop is this is the my service provider is somewhere here. So that's the reason it's been connected. So I'm seeing my desktop's IP address is like 150 dot uh, 129 dot. This is the IP address I'm going to use, and the protocol I'm going to connect it using a TCP IP. So this is the port I'm going to connect it. Destination port, it's been I'm going to use it's in a 4000 or something. I'm going to use it. So I'm going to use destination address I'm going to use a destination IP, it's been going to be the public IP address. For example, here time being I'm just giving a destination is 4000 destination IP, because right now we are going to connect to where we are going to connect to the demo VM which has been configured in the East US data center or North Europe data center. Right now there is no public IP address here. See here, there is no public IP address. So what right now I'm going to do, I'm going to connect through internal or the perimeter firewall I have been configured. So I'm saying that if my place, if I'm connecting, I'm going to connect the public IP address of my firewall. Here I'm saying that there is a rule is saying that go and connect to the firewall. But once you connected the, translate that IP address to where I'm saying that once it's been connected, I hope the team you are able to uh, understand this one. So right now, this is the lab we are trying to connect it. You may be able to understand here. We have a VM configured, right? We have a VM has been configured here. This VM is been got a private IP address. What is the private IP address got? 10.0.0. Now I am sitting here. I need to connect to this VM. Technically, using a private IP address, I'm not able to connect it. So what I'm going to do, I'll be using a service called firewall. So this firewall got a public IP address. This got a private IP address also. X.x, whatever. Now I need to take a remote desktop to this. Directly, it's not possible. So what I'm going to do, in the firewall, I'm going to configure a policy called NATing. It means that any user, if they are connecting to remote desktop, they can connect IP address of this firewall instead of public IP address of a VM. I don't have a public IP address. I'll be using a public IP address of this firewall. I'll be connecting here. So any request is coming with RDP, I'm defining a policy. If it is coming with a port number 4000, they can understand. This needs to be translated to this VM internally. So what I need to do here, I'm defining a policy. If any RDP port is coming, translate into internally to a 10.0.0.4 based on the port. That's the policy right now we are defining here. So right now I'm saying that translate IP address to a 10.0.0.4 in the VNet. What is the port number? 3389. Where you need to transfer, needs to be transferred as a RDP one. So the port number is a 3389. Now I'm giving a collection here. Now we need to define the policy. So what is the options here? Okay. Okay, role number I've been missed to add a role number here. I just given like a RDP to be demo VM. Okay, I given a role here. Now, if anything is I missed here, yes, there was a space. That's the reason I was not able to add it. Destination. Destination. What is this? Destination is the firewall IP. Yes, it's been correct. I given added. Now, role has been added here. So, remote NATing rule has been added here. Right now, you can able to see the NATing rule is enabled on the firewall level. So that rule collection is in progress. So let's wait. So it will take hardly 1 or 2 minutes. It will take. You may be able to see now. There is a rule is been created here. You can able to see there is a rule has been created with a priority 100. Seeing that if anyone has been connecting to this destination port with a 4000, that means internally it's been translated to this RTP of this particular VM. Now let's try because previously I was not able to connect it here. So how I need to connect to this VM? Right now the VM have configured. Here it's been called demo VM, but I don't have any public IP address yet. So I am not even in a position to connect it here. So I need to connect it IP address here, right? So I need to connect it using a remote desktop. Unfortunately, I don't have any public IP address here. Now let's try to connect it here. So what is the IP address I need to use it here? So right now I'm going to use a public IP address of the particular firewall. What is the firewall IP address here? Let's go here and find out what is the public IP address. The firewall public IP address is 20 dot something. Yes, 20 dot or the copy this one and type where it's been mapped. The firewall policy has been mapped. Let's go to a firewall group, firewall policy. Let's go to the firewall policy DNAT rule. What is the port number you've been set is told 4000. So you're saying connect to this VM or using a port number 4000. So I want to connect to the demo VM, but demo VM currently we don't have any public IP address. So you are connecting through the firewall. So right now I'm just giving like a connect it. So right now you can able to see we got a username and password. So I'm giving username and password. So how this has been connected? This has been connected using a see right now how this has been connected. It's been connected with the help of public IP address of firewall. See, I don't have a public IP address been assigned, but how this traffic is been right now, it's been going with the help of a natting. See here, right now it's been connected using a natting feature. See, now where this has been connected, this has been connected to the demo VM. See here, right now it's been a VM is been opening. You may be able to see it's been connected or it's been traffic is been traveled through the firewall. Right now, if you go to the command prompt and if you're typing ipconfig, you may be able to see what is the IP address. Sorry, I've been type a wrong command. I type ipconfig. It's been 10.0.0. What is the host name? Demo VM, right? You may be able to see it's been connected to the demo VM, but currently I don't have any public IP address here, right? If you type any IP address of this VM, I don't have any public IP address here because I don't have only one IP address. That's a internal IP address. Now I've been connected from my location in Indonesia and I've been connected to this VM from with the help of a firewall. How this has been possible? Because your network address or the firewall service, which currently it's been available here, it's been translated. I have received this traffic in a firewall with a heated with a port number 4000, validated this rule internally with the help of a DNAT rule. It's been converted. Now you can able to see a couple of other rule also it's been available here. For example, like you want to uh, enable some kind of a blocking. For example, like in your organization, you want to do some kind of a blocking. Then you can able to use the same rule. For example, like in case if you want to block some particular website inside this one, you can able to configure a rule here also. There is a network rule you can able to configure. With the help of that, you can able to block the website. For example, like some particular facebook.com or a particular website needs to be blocked in your organization. That you can able to block it, allowed or a denied can be able to configure it here in the application rule. You can able to configure here. If you go here, you can able to block it here. Some particular website you want to block or allow, you can able to do it here. You can able to see allow or a deny. For example, like you need to block like a www.facebook.com, you need to block it. If any traffic has been coming with this tag, you can able to deny it here. So this will be denied. So you can able to see which source, all source net you can able to see. For example, like if you want to block from entire network or in a particular website or a particular source, if you want to block it. For example, like the 10.demo VM user is always browsing a uh, facebook.com. You can tell this needs to be blocked if any traffic is coming from 10.0.04 with or any internet traffic. If you want to block it, you can able to block it here also. If any protocol is coming with a HTTP, if any traffic is going outside like HTTP or a HTTPS is coming, block it. Or website also we can able to give it here in the destination. If any destination, if he is coming, if he's always browsing using HTTP or HTTPS using to www.facebook.com, if I need to block it, you can able to block it here. So you'll not be able to use it. You can able to allow only one particular website also. So this kind of a traffic management, you will be uh, able to do it here. So technically speaking, if you are able to configure any kind of infrastructure or complex infrastructure in your organization, make sure that you are enabling a firewall or a NSG in your organization. So especially in a hybrid scenarios. Now Sachin is asked about a routing in a few minutes before. So Sachin, for your information, in case if you want to configure any kind of a fire, any kind of a um, routing in your organization, basically there is a two type of rule will be configured. Let's I think I have scenarios here. Or let's go back to this portal itself. You may be able to see it here. Basically the routing has been configured. Where is our screen? One second, I've been, it's okay. Basically answering to your question, routing is generally it's been configured in 3 level. By default, old VM, by default it's been enabled with a system default rules. For example, like if you're taking a networking, if you're coming here by default, if you're selecting here, you may be able to see there is a rule called effective routes. By default, there is a route is being enabled here. By default, Microsoft itself enabled a couple of routes. Such in answering your question, this is one method. By default, if you select any VM or a network, you can able to see by default there is a system route is been enabled by default. Or in case if you want to go for any custom routes in your organization, you can go for any service called route table, where manually you can able to define a route saying that I need to route a traffic from one VNet to another VNet, or one subnet to another subnet, or one organization to another region. So in case if you want to do any kind of a manual routing, if you want to do, you can able to configure with the help of this. Or if you want to configure in a kind of a dynamic route kind of thing, then you need to go for the network gateway, where you can enable a BGP kind of a protocol. With the help of that, you can able to route it. This about a few points about this one. Right now, Surag has been posted the attendance link on the chat. So last uh, 1 week, we tried to share some information about Microsoft hybrid connectivity, try to cover a couple of security services on in the Microsoft. So we try to cover as much as possible. Now, this is only 3 hours of a session in a day, so there are a few topics you may have to refer it yourself. Similar kind of event we'll be planning in the future also. So this entire event or the initiative we try to enable you, at least to give you some guidelines on going for writing a certification or starting a journey or a career on this one. So this is the Yes, Sarenga, if you want to add one more VM, if you want to configure it here in the NAT role, Sarenga, you can go back to here. Right now, we don't have any VM here. In case if you want to add one more policy to here, you can able to add another firewall rule here. For example, like in the firewall policy, for example, like firewall manager policy, NAT rule, give a different port rule here. For example, like you need to add another rule. So in the rule collection, for example, like you have a source destination, different port if you want to convert destination port, you give like a 4001 and point into another rule 10.0.0.5. You can able to add it. So this is the way generally it's been doing. Multiple VM if you want to add. Only the destination VM destination IP address you can change it with a different port. Like a 4000 right now, if someone has been typing, that will be pointing to the demo VM. For example, like you have another VM called server one. So you have to use or you have to map into a different port number. So we are on top of time today. So thank you, team. It was a nice event and nice discussion. So there is a lot of case studies we tried to answer it. So attendance link, it's been John, it's been pasted on the top. Surag has been pasted of his link. So request everyone to follow the Discord link. So with that note, we are pausing the training event. So you're learning or this event has been not stopping here. Um, we have a similar kind of event it's been planning in every week. So ensure that you are following the Discord link. So it was a nice event. So it's a lot of case studies and scenario we tried to consider during the sessions. So thank you all team. Appreciate your time. Uh, because you put your personal time. I can see there's a people have been attending this session during your office hours, even a night shift time. So I can understand that. So thank you, team. So try to answer it almost all the questions in the chat. So we need to pause it here. So thank you, team. So hope we can meet it soon, very soon. So we have another event has been coming. So thank you, team. So wish you a great career and wish you a great career in especially on the cloud. So connect with the Discord and our team so we can able to organize more events. So use the attendance link, give the feedback, and what is the type of the program you're expecting. You can give that feedback also. Follow the Facebook link. Try to share our link among your friends or office circle. So if you have a large audience, we can have similar kind of more events can be able to organize. So you need your support also from your side. So requesting you to circulate this link to all your friends. So once again, thank you to all the members join this event. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Yeah, uh, this is the last day for this event. Next week we have another event that's been coming. So this for this we are just pausing here. So thank you, Swarag and for Chaitanya and all the hands behind the screen also. You may be seeing only I'm myself and Surag is it. So there is a lot of effort was available from Surag and Chaitanya also because coordinating, organizing this event, making the post publishing. So there is a lot of event it's been back and also. So thank you to all the members which been involved in this coordinating this one. And once again, thanks to all the team members who joined also. Thank you. Happy weekend. Talk to you soon. With that note, I'm signing off and we are stopping the recording.